Hello, everyone. One idea from the week's readings that really challenged me came from Scott Sunquist's discussion of the church as community of both worship and witness. He explains that these two realities belong together. Worship should send us into the world to participate in God's mission, and our witness should continuously draw us back into worship. That perspective stood out to me because I think churches sometimes separate what's inside the sanctuary from what happens outside of it. Worship becomes one activity and mission becomes another, when in reality they should continuously shape one another. Another point that impacted me was Sanquist's reminder that the church is not the center of God's mission. God is already at work in the world, bringing reconciliation and shalom, and the church is invited to participate in what He is doing rather than creating the mission ourselves. That idea is especially meaningful to me because it shifts my focus from asking, what should the church do? To asking, where is God already working and how can we faithfully join Him? When I think about my mission theology, I find myself leaning more towards a theology of presence. I believe relationships often come before proclamation. Before people are willing to hear the gospel, they need to know that they are seen, valued, and loved. Presence creates trust, and trust creates opportunities for transformation. I also find myself drawn to reconciliation because I believe God's mission is about restoring relationships with Himself, with one another, and with creation. Those two mission theologies naturally complement one another. My church values worship, biblical teaching, and serving the community. And I do see it as functioning as a community of worship and witness. However, at the same time, I think churches can continue growing by making mercy, justice, and reconciliation part of everyday congregational life rather than occasional ministries or talk points. I would love to see more intentional relationships across racial, cultural, and socioeconomic differences because I believe that is one way we bear witness in God's kingdom. One way I try to live this out is through my work in neuropsychological assessment and my future calling as a clinical psychologist. Many of the people I work with are navigating trauma, neurological conditions, or significant life challenges. But my goal is not only to evaluate cognitive functioning, it's also to preserve dignity and advocate for equitable care and help people feel seen and understood. I feel like this is one way I extend an invitation to the King's table. Gonzalez 2014 reminded me that baptism joins us into a new family where our identity is found in Christ rather than our divisions in the world. I want my work to reflect that same truth by communicating that every person has inherent worth and belongs. The question I would like to discuss with our formation group is this: if the church truly believes it's participating in God's mission rather than creating its own, what practical challenges would we need to make so that worship naturally leads to justice, mercy, reconciliation, and a faithful witness throughout the world, in contrast to colonial practices? Thanks, guys.